Well, I'm Hunter Willard. I use they, them, theirs pronouns. I am the director of homeless youth programs at OutFront. Uh, just want to thank everyone for joining us via the internet to hear what we have to say about the host homes program and hopefully garner you as a host family. If not, learn more and be an advocate with us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Alex Cross. I'm the program coordinator for the OutCenter Southwest Michigan. We hope that everyone is staying safe and fulfilled and cool in this weather. And I also use they, them pronouns, and we are super excited to start this partnership with Hunter and with OutFront. So let's learn a little bit more.
All right. Well, OutFront is a nonprofit based in Kalamazoo that has served the LGBTQIA plus community of Southwest Michigan for over 30 years. OutFront's mission is to create a just, inclusive, equitable, and supportive environment in Southwest Michigan for people of all sexual orientations and gender identities and expressions.
And the OutCenter is a nonprofit based in Benton Harbor. We service Van Buren, Berrien, and Cass counties through individual support groups and system change models. Your local schools might have gone through our Safe or Brave School training. Our mission is very similar to OutFront. We aim to provide support and advocacy for the respect, understanding, and non-discrimination to the queer community and allied persons and their families in Southwest Michigan. We predict that there are about 11,000 LGBTQ plus persons in our service area, and we know that there are risks that come with being a queer person in general. Cool. So what we believe as in this partnership is that while youth are living with host families, both they and their families of origin benefit. Safe and stable housing provide with positive adult relationships is the beginning of the reconciliation process. Experiencing homelessness is often traumatic and can have an effect on youth lives, including and most importantly, interrupting their education. And we also know that youth on the streets are more likely to be exploited, trafficked, and participate in survival sex works, assaulted or coerced by predators, and lack access to medical and mental health care and the necessary food and shelter to survive. So why are we bringing this program into our area? So we know that LGBTQ plus youth who experience family rejection during adolescence specifically are 8.4 times more likely to have report attempted suicide, have higher rates of depression, and are more likely to use illegal drugs and have substance abuse issues, and to engage in risky sexual behaviors. And we know that our transgender community is even more at risk than their cisgender peers, and their rates of suicide attempts are 3 to 6 times higher. Research also found that highly religious families were most likely to use religion to reject their children and were less likely to accept them, which is why it's so important, as Hunter will talk about a little bit, as to why we have Interfaith Coalition as part of this project and why the OutCenter has started our Friends in Faith program to provide affirming and inclusive perspectives on faith. Go to the next slide, Hunter. So why do we need this program in this area? Okay. Berrien Risa's 2020 School Climate Survey backs up an increase of LGBTQ plus youth in our area. It's about 25% in some schools, which is amazing and higher than the national average. LGBTQ plus youth are 120 times more likely to experience homelessness, even though, they're 7% of the youth nationally. Family rejection, which is most often based in religious objection, is the most common cause of youth homelessness. And physical and mental health of unhoused queer youth is worse than their cis straight peers. And LGBTQ plus youths are 7 times more likely to participate in survival sex than their non-LGBTQ plus counterparts. So our goal is to help prevent everything on this slide, basically, with this program, and you are potentially an integral part of that. All of our statistics are provided by True Colors, the Trevor Project, the Family Acceptance Project, and the Human Rights Campaign. Go ahead, Hunter.
All right. So the goals of the Host Homes program. Goal number 1 is to create short-term host homes and families to provide a safe and temporary welcoming space for up to 6 months. Basically, at its core, what the Host Homes program is trying to avoid having these youth be put into the foster care system. If we can avoid that at all costs, that would be great. So off bat, it's to deteriorate from them being in the foster care system. Goal number 2 is to repair the youth's relationship with their family of origin or make decisions about other housing options with the support of a caring case manager, which would be myself. Goal number 3 is to address community needs in the short-term housing system. Goal number 4 is to educate the community about the dangers of LGBTQ plus youth homelessness, what rural homelessness looks like, and the LGBTQ plus community as a whole. So what is the Host Homes program? The Host Homes program is designed to address the housing needs of LGBTQIA plus youth during family reconciliation or pursuit of other housing to avoid youth homelessness by connecting them with caring adults who are willing to provide safe housing and support during this process. The community and volunteer-based approach is available to LGBTQ youths aged 13 to 17 who are seeking to increase stability in their housing. So a history of host homes as it pertains to OutFront in Kalamazoo. Sarah Jacobs, who was previously in my position, found after 3 years of research and experiences in the field that 3 solutions have the most initial evidence for success. And that is youth-centered family reconciliation and strengthening, which is the process of maybe some form of re-education with the family in terms of their religious views and what made them ostracize their child from their home in the first place. Short-term host homes, which is what this is, and rapid rehousing, which this also is. This model has been implemented across the country from New York to Alaska, as well as in native lands, and has been funded by nonprofits and HUD. It is one of the most effective methods of decreasing rural LGBTQ plus youth homelessness. So what is a host home? Host homes provides care in their own homes to LGBTQ youth, where they support youth in a day-to-day living during the family reconciliation process. This is including life skills, attending school, providing meals, medical appointments, community activities, and more. Short-term host homes are an intervention for youth aged 13 to 17 years old who are currently experiencing homelessness for any variety of reasons, including but not limited to family conflict, poverty, gender identity, and sexual orientation. Am I up or you? I can.
Oh, you.
Right on. Eligibility for being a host family. have an extra bedroom, providing privacy for the youth, being at least 25 years of age, have lived in Kalamazoo, Van Buren, Cass, or Berrien County for at least 1 year, complete the application form, providing any relevant information, completing necessary interviews, complete the initial training session, have renters or homeowners insurance, providing a file copy if requested, provide 3 references, which is part of the application process as a whole, and authorize and pass background checks, which is part of the application process as well. So that would include public records and reports and background check services. The responsibility of a host family, first and foremost, if you decide to become a host family, your responsibilities to the individual living with you includes providing a safe and supportive environment consistent with the mission of OutFront Kalamazoo and the OutCenter of Southwest Michigan. Our goal is to match everyone with the perfect host home provider, complete and provide regular documentation, updates, forms that we need to ensure the safety and well-being of the individual in your care are maintained at the highest levels.
Great, and so those are the main responsibilities. It is expected for a host family to provide a regular routine, which could include providing meals, assisting with daily living skills, medication management, transportation to and from appointments and activities, and behavioral support in conjunction with the host homes team. And since everyone has their own unique set of needs, although this is a youth-driven selection process, you will have the opportunity to review the youth's profile prior to accepting them into your home. And it's also important to note that we are working on building up supports around you and the youth. And this will include a financial literacy program, as well as other stuff that we'll get into in a minute. So questions to think about before applying. You want to think about the written rules and the invisible rules of your home. What are your expectations of the youth while they live with you? Do you have expectations and rules about overnight guests or sharing living spaces? You should ask yourself, what is your financial commitment to this youth, and is that doable for you and your family? Is your living space ready for a young person, right? As we, as our children grow and leave, we sometimes change our house and it needs to be put back into a different order for a youth. Have you personally explored issues such as white privilege and racism? And have you ever lived with a queer and or transgender youth? So are you decolonizing your mind and your space? And are you ready to take someone in who may have difficulties accepting themselves? Are you willing to put some time in to create a nurturing relationship with a youth? And are you capable of living with a young person who may be working through difficult issues? Before you even get that application and send it back to Hunter, I know some of you already have, thank you. Ask yourselves this, and ask yourselves, is my house safe for a young queer person who is exploring themselves and exploring their world? And if not, how can I make it safe before they enter my space? So the invisible rules of your home. So we don't always have written rules in our house, right? We don't sign contract with children, although a contract is part of this program. We do have expectations for our space and how we would like it organized. And some of those invisible rules can include food, where it's eaten, how it's eaten, sexual guests, are drugs and alcohol allowed in your home? What does your community look like, and what are your expectations for community, and what are your expectations of privacy? I think the best example of this is my partner's brother and significant other don't really use plates. It is expected, it is an invisible rule, it is expected in their house that you will use a bowl, regardless of the meal that's served. So do you have something in your house like that? Is that something you need to communicate with the youth upon entry, or are you just going to hand them a bowl and hope that they figure it out? I know it's a very niche thing, but it makes them very happy. They hate when knives scrape on plates. And different roles like that. So as I mentioned, we are developing support systems for you, the host family, the youth, and for the family of origin. So the OutCenter and OutFront will put you in contact with LGBTQ+ accepting food pantries across the various counties to help offset the fact that you have another mouth to feed. And we hope, and we're working with Faith Alliance Coalition in Kalamazoo and the surrounding faith communities to provide emotional support and guidance to the host families while they're caring for the youth and after, if appropriate. We also hope that the faith community around us will help with the family reconciliation process, if that is an aspect that the youth and the family of origin seek to provide. I want to note that family reconciliation training will be provided to the OutCenter and OutFront staff, as well as select volunteers to assist in the family reconciliation process by the Family Acceptance Project. And upon reaching a critical mass of host families in our area, we intend on developing support groups for you. So that way you can connect with other people who have done this, who have been in issues and can assist you in ways that maybe a professional caseworker like Hunter or a program coordinator like myself wouldn't be able to. And our goal is to make this easy for you. You are taking on the emotional and financial labor of bringing a young person into your home. And if we can provide financial or food assistance or connect you with the right people to assist you and the youth, we are 100% going to. This is a celebratory and revolutionary act of care towards another person, and we want to assist that as much as possible. So Hunter's going to take over what the application process looks like and what being a host will look like as well.
Great. So the application and host overview process, potential host home applicants attend an introductory host homes presentation. Congratulations, you're already completing step one. Applicants fill out required forms and turn them into the host homes coordinator. If you're interested to continue, please, we'll have our information at the end that you can get a hold of Alex or I, and we can get the ball rolling. Applicants attend a 6 to 8 hour host homes training event that is still being crafted, and we would hope to have multiple people attend that when it happens, but we're very excited to do that as well. Homeless Youth Program Director performs background checks and sends out reference requests. In the original application, it will ask for 3 references, and those are pretty crucial parts of getting to know your character and how the people in your community see how you would act or engage with an LGBT youth. Applicants have their first interview with the Host Homes Program Director, and applicants are chosen as host volunteers. Now, step 7, applicants have a second interview with the Homeless Youth Director in their home. during COVID, we had to do a massive overhaul of this process. So, but now that vaccines are rolling out and some individuals are vaccinated, if you are not vaccinated, myself and you would be getting a COVID test prior to this. Then the host files are made available for youth-driven selection. So in that process, the youth will review your host files, including the host letter to youth participants. Then there will be a meeting with the youth, with the potential hosts and myself. If this meeting can't be executed remotely, another COVID test would be needed if individuals are not yet vaccinated. Release of liability waivers are signed, so there's power of attorney and a few other things just to ensure that, say you're able to take the youth to the doctor or help get the youth their prescriptions if need be, just basic legal documentation. And then the youth would move in. The youth and host, again, would receive a COVID test if not vaccinated, and then we would get together and review goals and expectations with myself, the caseworker. The host homes coordinator and faith community provides support to the hosts. The host homes program director provides support to youth. Hosts attend ongoing support training, so monthly support meetings, getting up to speed, seeing how things are going, and attend host homes training event as part of the support, and that will be 3 to 4 times a year, much akin to what the original training would be. And social and community building activities planned for youths, hosts, extended family, and friends. And so getting pretty much as many people involved that are willing to help reconcile the youth, their family, or if it's outside of that, going through the youth's extended family and finding avenues of care for them post host homes, just making this process as fruitful and as comforting and supporting for the youth as possible. So now we open the floor for questions.
Yeah, and as I noted, we are live streaming on Facebook and this is being recorded. So if it's more comfortable for you to put your questions in the chat, feel free to do so. The chat is open and Facebook comments are open.
Please, not all at once.
Hi, my name is Elena, and I have a question. So one of my biggest issues is going to be time commitment. More available certain times of years than the other. So if I were to do this, would I be able to just be available in like spring and summer? Because I know I'm super busy in fall and winter and wouldn't be able to like provide transportation and things like that.
Yeah, we definitely could set it up in that way. We still do ask that the host families are able to make the commitment for up to 6 months while we are exploring potential family reconciliation and other avenues of help for said youth. So if that worked out with your schedules, that slice of 6 months, then yeah, I would say that could very likely happen.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do most of the youth end up staying with the host family for 6 months, or is there like an average that you see that they can get back sooner?
So we have yet to place any youths on our end, but from the studies that I've seen, and Sarah Jacobs, who came ahead of me, have seen that 6 months is just a ideal amount of time to be available in that process, because it is quite tedious and sometimes a unsure feeling process of just making sure that this child is, taken care of the best way possible. But 6 months is very much the sweet spot.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Hunter, there's a question about youth vaccination for COVID in the chat. I know this was a big overhaul for the host homes in regards to COVID, but have with the changes of youth vaccination, what's up with that? It's a really bad way to phrase that question, but you know what I mean.
So I mean, if the youth is able to be vaccinated, or are we? I guess am I able to read the question myself here? What if a host family? How likely is that the youth are vaccinated? Okay. It will depend on, and it will vary from child to child. I think that's kind of hard to say. If they are unvaccinated, we could definitely find avenues of getting them vaccinated if they wanted that. But in the process, if if the youth is not vaccinated, then COVID tests would be implemented to ensure everybody's safety. But that's all I can really say, because it really would vary person to person if they are vaccinated or not.
Yeah, and I think going off of that question, the host homes program is very personable and very individualized, although the basic structure is applicable to every host family and every youth that would be a part of it. It is individually driven. The youth has priority selection, but then you also have the ability to look at the youth's profile and, make that ultimate decision. And if COVID vaccination is a deal breaker for you, then that's a deal breaker for you. And that's something that we can address as that goes along. I know also, hypothetically, this is a huge hypothetical, capital H. There are some youth who may want to be vaccinated, but can't in their families of origin, that may be able to do so with a host family. So there's all kinds of big question marks and big H hypotheticals that unfortunately, as the nature of the program and the nature of all host homes is, it'll get hammered out. It'll come out in the wash. And we will figure it out together. And care for each other together in this way. So that's a super great question and a big concern. Thank you for bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Not, I can go over to contact information.
Yes, MJ's comment. MJ is the OutCenter's executive director, and I think it's important to read this out loud. This is a program that's being rolled out across the country with great results. As Hunter mentioned, this is a program that has been super useful in rural areas, since rural homelessness often looks like an unofficial host home program. And it's been implemented from Alaska, where they've had great success, to New York and Philadelphia and here in DC. And we see it as a housing first program. It is amazing. Yes, We are not reinventing the wheel. We are deploying a successful program here in Southwest Michigan, and we're not doing it alone. And you won't be doing this alone. Yeah. So since Hunter and I love a short meeting, and that's, there's not a lot of questions coming in, here is our contact information. Hunter is the director of homeless youth programs at OutFront. Email him, email them. I am the program coordinator for the OutCenter. Email me. Sarah and Barry are part of Interfaith Alliance or Faith Alliance in Kalamazoo. They were part of building this program. I think, Hunter, do you want to just mention how Faith Alliance has been a part of this process?
Yeah, sure. So the Faith Alliance is a coalition of individuals in Kalamazoo that has been brought together by OutFront, and they are very LGBT affirmation oriented, I would say. They are religious individuals that are fighting just as hard for equality for all LGBT individuals as much as we are, and they are an invaluable asset to us, and they are they will be a big part of the host homes program in terms of family reconciliation. So Sarah Schmidtley and Barry Petrucci helped craft our version of the host homes program with Sarah Jacobs before I came on with OutFront. And so if you wanted to ask any religious leaning questions to them or questions on the family reconciliation process, they're great individuals to get a hold of.
Sarah is for sure a great person to connect with. So we have a question on Facebook too. There goes our short meeting, Hunter, but that's okay. So the question was, is Allegan County part of this? And I'm going to say not yet, but still do apply to the program, because if this program continues to expand, as it's expanded from Kalamazoo and out, then we want to have you as part of the system. And we just want to make sure that you can be there, but not yet to Allegan. But we do love our friends up north. Allegan County is not that far north, but it feels north.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for your interest. Still do apply, but note that if you do apply, probably not going to reach out right away.
Yep. When it was only centered in Kalamazoo and we started taking applications, I still very much took applications from bordering counties of Kalamazoo, just if the day arised, if the need arised. Just knowing that you are interested is great. Just knowing that you're supporting it in some way. So yeah, maybe one day, but as of right now, we are sticking to these main counties.
Yeah, knowing you're out there is almost just as good. Like, we're so glad you're there. And to answer your question about how soon will we want to start placing youth, as soon as the situation comes to our attention. Right now, we don't have any youth, but like Hunter mentioned, we started this partnership like last week. So we are building rapidly and we are expanding quickly. So as soon as we have youths and we have homes, then we will make host homes. But I don't have a youth right this second, but we will Our youth, we'll find them. We'll find them.
Yeah.
We'll bang pots and pans and walk down the street. Yeah, that's good.
Hi, it's Elena again.
Hey, Elena.
Another question. So I did a sign up sheet for and put down my information, and I know it asked me what school district I lived in. How likely would the youth be within the school district? Are you looking for host families based on where they live, or could it just be anywhere in Berrien County or near Kalamazoo?
I can speak to the attempts in Kalamazoo as of yet. I think our biggest emphasis on that is just to not hinder or halt the youth's education in any way. I mean, if the host family lived outside or just outside of the school district and were able to get them to school, I don't see a problem with that. But in terms of like maybe the youth having to take the bus, those are the kinds of things that we're looking for, just to ensure that the youth is still, working towards a great education.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your question. You're hitting me with a great question. Do we have any more, Alex, as of yet?
We have no more questions on Facebook.
Okay.
And thank you for watching on Facebook. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I would really like to end with is to just stress the importance of this program. We know that youth run away from our area and they head down to Chicago or they head down to the big city and do their best to make it work and often lay prey to human traffickers and a lot of other situations that they may not be equipped for. Coming from a town, a small town in Berrien County, heading to Chicago is quite a cultural shift. Or we know that youth have been kicked out of their homes and have just been put in danger because of trying to live their authentic and whole selves. But we also know the very, I would say, infamous saying is, if you build it, they will come. And by building this program and by you volunteering your time, your love, and your homes, you are part of a revolutionary and amazing process and program in our area that not only will keep youth safe, but will show them that home can be anywhere. And that's a message that even I, an almost 30-year-old queer, need to know. And it's a message that youths as young as 12 need to be here as well. So thank you all so much. And I'm going to drop the preliminary application into the Zoom chat as well as onto the Facebook comments. So if you haven't filled that out yet, please do, or you can email Hunter or I directly and we will get this ball rolling. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm done answering some final questions in the Facebook chat, and I see some comments on Facebook that I am desperate to go respond to. So I think with that, we will say good night and good luck. And have a great weekend. Try to stay cool, everybody. It's 100 degrees where I am, so hopefully it's cooler and lovelier where you are. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.